Hey everybody, it's Straight Up Talk Boston. We're here live with Joey Canzano, Johnny Peasy, Billy Pizzullo, and our special guest, Amy O'Hara. How's everybody doing, guys?
Good, good. So let me just take this opportunity let me just take this opportunity to welcome our guest host this evening is former captain of the Revere Police Department, Amy O'Hara, who has turned stand-up comic. We've done a few shows together, and she has a lot of potential to be really, really good in this art form. But before we get to Amy, we have a couple other things we're going to talk about. But I want to start off by saying today I had a doctor's appointment, and my doctor told me, seriously, he looked at all my labs, I have the kidneys of a 20-year-old.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that great? So, gals, I just want you to know out there.
And the brain of a
Come on.
5-year-old.
I get the kidneys of a 20-year-old.
Before we go on, Joe, before we start, Joe, we should...
You want a piece of
We
me?
should... don't be looking at her when you say that. We should thank Amy for her service. How many years?
34 years.
34 years in the Revere Police Department. Give it up for that. It's no joke because what the police are going through these days, and as you know, a lot of my friends are on the police force, state, Revere, local.
Right.
And anyway, I thought I'd say that. Go ahead, Johnny. Take the
All right.
take the floor.
I
Yeah,
just
wait a
want
minute.
to say I did 2.5 years the sheriff's department before Revere PD, so I don't want to forget that because my buddies, all the screws at the House of Correction. So
Do they like being called screws?
I don't know. I don't care.
Okay, because we have a few screw balls here.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. So
definitely.
there's a couple of things
Go
I
ahead,
want.
Johnny.
So I'd like to address some current events that maybe we could argue about, because that's exactly what you're going to do, Joe. Look at you. He's already drooling over there. He's trying to get at me. So first of all, Billy, you'll be happy to know we've already sunk 20 drug boats
Oh, I love it.
off the coast
I
of
love it.
Valenzuela. We have surrounded that country, and Madero, you better give it up, baby. You better give it up. What do you think about that, Billy?
Yeah, turn the volume down, guys, on
Yep.
your phones.
That's, you know who that is.
No, it wasn't. I'm
Just
just
turn it
trying
on
to. I'm
the
just
side
trying
of
to
your
share
phone,
this
just
so
right
we
there.
could share everybody.
But-
I'm trying to get share on my, Johnny's, and Amy's pages. There you go. Let me do that
Just
for you.
keep the volumes down because you can hear it through the microphones.
Okay.
It just loops.
The problem is I don't see Billy's page live on Amy's page to get her to share. So for some reason, I don't know why. Let me see if I have it. I don't think.
But why? Let's not do this technical thing while we're
Well,
live
it's
on
important.
TV.
It's very important, Johnny.
Why?
Why? Because
Yes.
we need share unless nobody's going to watch us.
Well, we'll share it at the end.
Okay, that's but she'd like to see something live. Maybe people on her page would make a comment.
Oh my God, is this how we're gonna start?
How come I can't hear Amy's?
I'm,
You
between,
thought
I'm
you-
between two women right now.
You took the words. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh, he's like
I could've
me.
sworn
He's
with
like
this-
Judge Joni Peasy.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Joni Judge. Go
All
ahead,
right.
Johnny.
All right. So anyways, Billy, we've knocked. We've already sunk 20 of their boats.
Did you see how they were in a cluster in the middle of the ocean, switching drugs from boat to boat?
I didn't see that.
I
no.
love it, and they're all on camera. They're all on satellite camera, so they're all so when they go like this, all the rockets. Are see you later. I love it.
They think they could actually. They think that they're like, they could hide from this. We've got cameras in space and satellites that could. You put a quarter on the ground and could tell you from space whether it's heads or tails. And they think that they're hiding something. Oh, you think we're looking? Are they looking on us right now? Yeah. Hello, assholes.
Yeah, but are they actually? Do we know? Like, are they actually drug butts? Like, we're bombing people.
Well, you can actually.
Yeah.
If you
All
look
right.
at,
Well,
you
that's a
can
good question.
No,
No,
no, because-
Amy said something very good because she must every once in a while turn over to CNN once in a while because that's what
Shut
they
up,
say.
Johnny.
Okay.
I just listen. You know what? I'm in the middle, and I like to question everything. Okay, I think introduction.
But don't you think that the satellites would let us know that there was drugs going on?
You know what? I don't know. However, I do feel that, investigations stopping drugs that come into this country are part of a multifaceted approach. Now, I've never seen anybody bombing boats off the coast or wherever, Venezuela. So, they must, we assume, hey, they know what they're doing. They have good warning. We have dangerous people coming into this country. But, are we sure?
Hey, one life saved is a treasure.
What do you think about Trump possibly going, bringing boots on the grounds in Venezuela, overthrowing the regime?
Well, you know something? He has hinted to that, Joey.
I don't like the idea of it.
No?
No.
Why?
Why
Well,
do we
well,
need
first
to
of-
go and we need to? How did it work out in Afghanistan and Iraq? Overthrowing the government. We disabled the whole fucking region by taking Saddam Hussein out.
Right.
Okay, so why would we do this again? Why?
Well, because Maduro is a very, very, very
Okay,
bad man.
so we replace him.
And he is in that position falsely.
yeah.
Okay? He didn't even win the election. They just overtook that country, which is wrong.
So we replace him with who?
We don't have to replace
why are
anybody.
why are we even the ones like getting involved?
Thank
well,
you.
well, okay. Well, there you go. Amy, they're shipping
Johnny,
they're shipping all these drugs into our
okay,
country.
so we're gonna go
They're
and
killing
overturn a
people.
government?
What about just enforcing the border? Like wait a minute. You're telling me in 60, 70 years we can't stop drugs from coming in this country? Are you joking?
No, we can't.
We can't. Why can't we?
It's
But yet we
It's-
can have a FaceTime from here to Germany on a gadget like this. But you can't stop drugs coming in. Come on, Johnny.
Joey,
What
but
do you-
Joe, look at all the ways that drugs come into this country. You think that they could stop all the ways that they
there's
bring?
never going to be a stop completely.
Never.
Joe, but you don't go and take over a country and
But we're not trying to take over the country.
We're
We're
gonna
trying to get rid of a guy
And what do you do?
that is falsely leading a country, did not win an election. They've actually, the guy that won, they kicked him out. So come on.
And
We have all kinds of military force over there now. Like, what is going on? And why is it us all the time?
Thank you. I agree with
All
you.
I'm saying is, everybody open their eyes. Okay, I don't believe anything. I don't believe the media either
No.
side. We have to do our own fact finding. That's what I like. I'm for keeping America safe.
Yes.
But I just, what are we doing in Venezuela now? I would be reasonable to look at all the facts though and hear what you're
So,
saying.
Johnny, you're basically you're a proponent of going into Maduro and take him out. And
Well, first of all, there is going to be a meeting. Maduro wants to talk with Trump. But I think they're going to say, hey, listen, you are not supposed to be the leader of that country. You didn't win the election.
who is Trump and who is America to tell Venezuela what to do? We just gave them $40 billion. No, that's
No,
Argentina.
it's
I'm sorry.
Argentina.
Oh, my
I
Yeah.
stand corrected.
Okay, as usual.
Man and his monkey.
All right. So, okay, moving on. All right, so what do you
Well,
that
don't
was
even
quick.
finish
That
it.
was quick.
That wasn't even.
He does the Fred Astaire two-step over here. We go from 2 seconds. We didn't finish
That
it.
was-
He bounces from 10 different subjects.
We're not even.
We're not
close.
done yet.
Yeah,
All right,
no.
Joey, Billy, what do you have to say about all this?
I-
All right, thanks.
I personally,
Billy's awfully quiet.
I
mean,
personally believe that that
Johnny, that was a good Johnny.
yeah. Anyway, so I personally believe that there's no way we should be getting involved as far as doing a regime change.
Thank you, Billy.
Absolutely not. It's just bad. It's just bad business.
Johnny's wrong again.
Period. But he wants.
Wait,
but Venezuela.
You two going to tell me I'm wrong? Oh,
Well,
shit. Oh, Billy and Joey
it's
told
3
me I'm
against
wrong.
1.
Get me in.
Well, what's your plan, Johnny?
Get me the poison.
Remove Maduro's and then do what, Billy?
Well, I think what they're saying is that Venezuela is it's right where the Panama Canal, everything is. It's right central. It's central to be able to cut off Russia, cut off China, all that crap. So that's one of the reasons they're doing what they're doing. That's why he's peeing on that tree. To be honest with you, and that's the reason he's
We
using.
understand that, but
This is the reason he's using to.
it
make
couldn't be
this.
for the oil that they have in Venezuela, could it?
Of course,
could
of
be.
course it is. Of course it is. That-
Okay, so why would you do this again?
Well,
Another Iraq?
No. We need to put the right person that won the election into office.
And he's not going to be corrupt in a country like Venezuela, right?
Well, I'm not. I don't know, Joe.
Yeah, just stay out of foreign affairs, Johnny. I'm against it now. I've had enough. Who are you going to send over? You want to send over your kids over there? People have to have people's children's going to be sent over. For what?
What, you mean boots on the ground?
Yes.
Well, I don't think it would get to there, Joe.
Oh, you ain't get.
The military force that we have surrounding that country right now, we don't need to put one soldier.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I don't agree with it, Johnny. So we can
All right,
agree
that's
to
all right. That's
we can
all right.
agree to disagree. Let's talk about Dolly Parton's retirement.
Unbelievable.
All right.
That's an old
Billy,
joke.
so what do you think about Catholic bishops getting involved and making videos about the illegal aliens being removed from our country and how ICE is doing all this. My feeling is I don't think that the Catholic religion should be getting involved in that. They have enough on their plate to be worried about, but now they're going after all this. We're trying to get all these prisoners, these criminals out of this country, and these pedophiles and these drug people and their murderers. Those are the ones we're getting out of here right now.
Right. So, what they would gotten? Let's try this again. I did it again.
Oh, my God.
I tripped over my tongue. What can I do? I'm making changes over here.
You better trim that tongue.
No, I know. I stepped on it earlier, but they were wrong when they got involved in the George Floyd thing. The Catholic Church. They should have minded their own business then. So to do this now with immigration, they have a lot of room to talk about. They pissed and moaned about Trump wanting to build a wall, and the Vatican is the biggest wall you ever saw all around it. Come on, it's totally hypocritical. It's nauseating.
Agreed.
I don't know how I got involved in these. I'm here to talk about law enforcement. We're talking about some
Well,
serious
we
issues.
We're going to be giving you about 40 minutes of talk.
You're going to be
that.
taking the whole stage,
But
and
this immigration is it's a real issue.
No, we
without a doubt.
always do this. What we do is before we start talking about with our guest, Johnny likes to bring a list of
current events.
Of
what's
current
going
events,
on.
and that's what we do.
and just like what we're doing is, you have your views, you have your views, I have my views. We should never always agree on everything.
no, because you're always wrong.
Well, there you go.
So far, you guys are opposite on everything. This
No,
is like I'm in the middle.
We have to play the good cop, bad cop.
Oh, okay. I know that.
Speaking
I know
of
that.
cops,
Speaking
pardon
of
the pun.
Exactly.
All right.
Go ahead, Johnny.
So real quick, so we have what else? What do we have here? Okay, well, we talked about the boats. The Epstein files. What do you think about the Epstein files, boys? You think that Trump is playing his cards the right way?
Absolutely. I absolutely think he's playing his cards the right way, because I absolutely believe that it's nothing but a farce, because the Democrats have had all of this evidence in their possession for more than a decade, okay, between Obama and this and that. But Biden had it in his last term. If it was going to come out that he was doing something wrong, anything they could have found on him to cause him not to be president of the United States, they would have totally brought it out and ripped him to shreds. He would have never had 2 seconds in office this time.
So I had a friend of mine on Facebook, and he's a staunch liberal, and he was talking about, he didn't mention Trump by name, but you knew what he was talking about. If a person has been on Epstein Island and being involved with young women, he should resign immediately from the president. And he went yada 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 yada.
Who's the guy?
Again, I don't want to mention his name. But
Is
anyway,
he a comedian?
No,
Okay.
he's not. So anyway, so I said to him, well, I agree if the current leader was ever involved in any type of pedophile stuff, I would say, yeah, you got to leave. But so I said to him, let me ask you a question. When Bill Clinton was the president, he had a 21-year-old intern in the the sacred Oval Office, and he was gathering oral sex, and he was also had cigars and all kinds of stuff.
Johnny, but that's 30 years
Yeah,
ago.
but wait a minute.
And
My
he was
point is-
impeached.
But impeach. What did a slap in the hand?
The sacred Oval Office. What do you think? None of this has happened before at the White House. The Kennedy White House was like a bordella.
Bodella?
Bordella.
That sounds like a name from a girl from Revere.
It's called
Bordella.
it's Bordello.
Bordella.
Yeah.
Okay, Bordella. But all of a sudden, he's a grammar expert. No, I mean, you keep bringing that stupid thing up with Clinton.
Because-
he got impeached, Johnny.
But big deal. He got his
big
hand.
deal?
He got his hand slapped.
What's the old saying that girls used to say? Whack my pee-pee.
What?
That's what it comes down to. That's what he got out of it.
Yeah. Got a little.
What do you mean? He's one of the
Nothing.
only two
He
people.
got nothing.
He's been impeached, Billy. What are you talking about? He got nothing. He's been impeached.
Okay.
That's third president in history.
Wow.
Hold on. I
Okay.
think that
Go ahead.
I think that Trump releasing the Epstein files is the best thing he can do. Just release them. If there's nothing, just get them out.
Exactly.
Get them out.
Thank you.
Everybody should have released. Just get the Epstein files out.
Amy, what do you
I
think?
agree
Okay,
with
then
you.
people can make up their own decisions.
Amy, what do you think about MTJ flipping on Trump? You know, Marjorie Taylor. You know who she is, the
Yeah.
congresswoman. I mean, this is more of a not. I don't know if it's more. I think it's more political than legal issues. I mean, it's definitely, in my opinion, it's more because I think if, like you said earlier, Johnny, or Billy said it, if they had anything on Trump, don't you think they would have had this out 2-3 years ago while he was running?
Okay,
his
and if that's the truth, then why was I wonder, like, why did he hesitate and not release the files, right? So because I think Epstein, this huge international sex ring or whatever, I think it's involved people from all over the world, and I think there's more to it than what everybody can possibly
No
imagine.
question about
but
it.
Trump releasing them is probably the best thing to do for everybody.
I think that Trump releasing them is a great idea, but I think the only reason he held them is because he has a lot of high-end donors
Bingo.
in his
Yeah.
camp that might be implicated as well. So that's why I think he held on to them. But now that everybody's playing hardball with him, he's saying, "Oh yeah, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm releasing everything." So I think he should. I agree with you 100%.
You know what? I think I'm into transparency and
Me
everything.
too.
Right.
That's what I'm into.
Do you think he's protecting people like a Bill Clinton? I mean, I don't think he hates Bill Clinton.
No.
I don't think Trump hates Bill Clinton at all. Because if he did, he would have indicted, put pressure on the Justice Department when he in his first term with Hillary, because there was enough to.
Didn't Bill Clinton just make another big, huge mistake in an interview regarding something that was kept secret just recently? It was within the last week. He did an interview and he slipped and said something he shouldn't have said.
I
That
don't-
was like top secret or something.
I don't recall.
But I don't think he's protecting Clinton at all. I don't think
no,
that's
no,
the
Billy. Not just Clinton. I'm saying as well as Clinton, maybe some other like you said, high end donors, very important politicians, maybe from other countries.
I think so. I think that's the reason why the hesitation has been there, because when he came out and said it was a hoax, he didn't mean it was the whole thing was a hoax, because they have all the information, they have the evidence. The problem is they were trying to implicate him.
Yes.
He's saying it was a hoax regarding him.
Well, they've already
Like-
gotten words from some of the girl that was said Trump did nothing.
Right.
One of the victims.
Jeffrey.
What's it?
Her name was Jeffrey. So Billy, let me ask you a question. Epstein's rise to his so-called power, and which had to do mostly with financial. Where did he get all this money? He was a math teacher. For some reason, I think that he must have had a lot on big-name politicians,
Absolutely.
not politicians, wealthy people, and they must have been paying him big money to keep quiet.
Well, you gotta know that.
Look at Prince Andrew.
All these head big leaders from all over
Yeah.
these countries, he was involved with. He was supposedly an asset for Mossad and for the CIA. Both.
Epstein?
Epstein. Now, you want to know where he got his money? The CIA is the wealthiest organization on the planet right now.
The CIA?
Of
What
course.
about- what about
That's
Mossad?
all from moving. That's all from moving drugs. Same deal.
Mossad.
Same deal. It's the Jewish version of the CIA.
Now, a question that Amy might be able to. Did you you familiar with the prison in New York where Epstein supposedly hung himself?
Brooklyn. I think it was in Brooklyn.
Are you familiar
Yeah.
with that at all?
I'm not familiar with the prison, but
Do you think, again, with your expertise in the business, do you think it's possible that he killed himself? Because I don't.
I think it's possible that maybe he didn't kill himself.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I don't know. I'd have to look at that right in front of me, but I don't underestimate shady shit
Oh
going on.
God. I mean, 5 cameras went down and 3 guards fell asleep.
Yeah,
Well, let me just say this. These guys, now you're talking about a guy that was arguably worth billions of dollars, and they offer these 3 prison guards $5 million cash apiece. Just fall asleep. Just put the cameras off. $5 million in cash.
You know what? I'm more of a conspiracy theory. I'm thinking people who are already involved in, say, they're already in there. They're already in there. They're way before, hey, let me go pay off a guard. They're already working for a government agency already in the
So
prison
you're like
system.
Mission Impossible,
Yeah,
the
I'm
original.
I'm going to kill you,
I
Johnny.
agree with
I
her,
will
though.
punch you out. I will punch you out.
See how doesn't he
Well, I'm
aggravate?
telling
He's
you,
like
I
a
will punch
pending
you.
I
Dane.
got Joey now. I got her now. She wants to beat on me. Wow. Hey, don't you realize I got 20-year-old kidneys?
Yeah, I don't care. You have that face you want to punch.
And a 5-year-old brain. Don't forget, Amy. There's a guy who still believes Oswald killed Kennedy.
Here we go again.
Here's a guy who believes a 22-year-old killed Kirk.
Yes.
And he believes that Epstein killed himself, hung himself.
I do. I believe I commit suicide.
You do.
He believes in the Easter Bunny too.
Wow.
And Santa.
Bad Bunny. Come on, Johnny. You can't be. I know he's not telling the truth.
Whitey Bulger committed suicide too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
No, I never said
Took
that.
a handful of pills.
Don't put words in my mouth,
We wouldn't want to
gentlemen.
put anything in that mouth. Trust me.
All right, listen up. All right, we're gonna now let's focus on our guest. who's
Can I
here.
see that? Can I see that list for a second,
No,
Johnny? Please.
No.
I promise
Where do
you.
you get that list? You just open
Johnny,
the
can I
paper and
please
read.
see it?
No.
I
my
promise
God.
I won't read nothing.
No.
I just want to see the amount of.
Bullshit.
Okay,
All
let
right,
me see.
thanks a lot, Amy.
Let's
I'm
see.
only kidding, Johnny.
Let's see
I
what
love
Johnny.
you.
Now,
Yeah.
Johnny's kids are my. I hope they don't believe I'm picking on their dad, but he is a fucking riot. And if you look at this list, okay, Russia. There's about 9 different, 10. We probably checked one thing off. Why do you waste all this time for 10 fucking? There's 10 tops. We touched one, Billy.
I know.
We never, Johnny. Just do 1 or 2 tops.
We did 1 or 2. We did.
Did we
one,
do 2?
yeah.
Okay. What was the second?
We did
Oh,
F-
here's another gem. Catholic bishops. That's going to really knock the crowd up there on their ass.
That's what we already talked about.
What?
that.
Who did?
We did.
Why don't you open your ears up, Joe?
Wow.
Epstein
Where were
files.
you? Where were you?
Jason-
Wow.
Jason Crooks. Was it Jason Crooks?
Thomas Crooks.
It looks like it says Jasmine.
No,
Oh, Jasmine
Jasmine
Crockett.
Crooks.
Okay, Crooks. Okay, what else? Well, these
I
are
s-
not bad subjects, Johnny. But we're not going, to especially with the guests. Like
I
we're
didn't.
never
I
going to
don't.
get to this.
I know that. I just put a bunch down. We hit a couple of them, and then move
You
on.
probably spent an hour writing this out.
Maybe I did. I put a little time into it.
I
All right.
love- go
All
ahead.
right. Ladies and
Anyway,
gentlemen.
let's introduce our guest.
So
again,
to my left, we have a lovely young lady, and she's a lovely young lady who gave 34 years in law enforcement. She was also a prison guard, and then she was a detective for a while, and then she rose to the ranks of captain of the Revere Police Department.
Captain.
And she comes from a law enforcement family. Her dad was a state trooper, and I think he might have been the first state trooper from Revere.
I think he might have been, yeah.
Yeah, and so she's well into law enforcement, and it's funny, we were talking before the show how all three of Billy, Joey, myself, we all wanted to be police. I found out at a very early age that I was not that type of that wasn't me to be a police officer.
you were a crook.
I never commit crimes.
That's just a joke.
I never took drugs, but that wasn't who I don't think I would have.
It wasn't the
been a great
direction
policeman.
we all,
Yeah.
neither one of us went.
But anyway, so Amy, so tell us, what inspired you to go into law enforcement? Was it your dad?
Well, I am a 4th generation police officer. My great grandfather was on Revere PD in 1903.
Is that right?
And then his son, and then my dad. So probably 3rd generation because it was a great grandfather and a granduncle and my dad. So it was always in my blood. And I sort of lost my way after high school. I dropped out of college. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but it was actually a negative interaction I had with a police officer that reinvigorated me to say, you know what, I want to be a police officer and create change. And so that's where I started on the road towards law enforcement.
And how old were you at that point when you had the interaction with the police?
I was young. I was 21.
Okay. And then you immediately went right into the academy after that at 22, 23?
Well, at 21, I was a victim of domestic violence and a young kid. And when I finally got the courage to call, the police came and they doubted me and actually wanted to leave me there. And I remember saying, please, I'm afraid. And I remember they said, all right, get in the cruiser. And I sat in the back of the cruiser and I said to myself, I just had a watershed moment. I was like, I finally got the courage to speak up. And I said, you know what? I always wanted to be a police officer. I have to take steps to do that. And so I was already in college at the time, but I started thinking about, to be a police officer, you have to take a civil service exam. You can't just get on.
Sure.
So I started thinking about where could I go and work as a stepping stone. And that's where the sheriff's department came up a few years later, and I started there.
Oh, so your interaction wasn't on you. It was a domestic situation.
I was a victim.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, when we were talking before the show, I thought you had been breaking the law.
Well, listen, well, we won't go there
No,
either.
you're
I was always the kid that got away too. But
That-
it was just I was a young kid in a tough situation, and I really feel I was to be in that situation to do what I did for the last.
Now,
30 years.
whoever you were involved with at the time, had to have a lot of guts because your dad was a
Oh
cop.
my God.
And he was a big man.
Yep, and
Um,
you better believe it. And so I at first didn't tell my father, because that would have been a problem.
Absolutely.
But eventually I did, and my father was smart. He had to be supportive of me because if my father was totally against me, I would have shut down and not told him things.
Right.
But he was completely supportive. We came up with a safety plan when I finally left this guy, because back then there was no such thing as restraining orders.
That's very young, 21 years old.
Yeah,
going through that.
21. I'm a different woman now,
Oh,
but
God.
I've grown.
We're all
significantly.
different men from 21.
Yeah,
Johnny can
exactly.
tell you that.
Yeah.
Right.
So Amy, so now you had this watershed moment. You got on now. So tell us, 2.5 years you were a prison guard. That is let me
my
tell you,
God.
that is an amazingly tough job. I mean, when you think about you walk, but there's some they're throwing urine at you, they're throwing feces at you,
And I'm in a men's prison.
and you're in a men's prison. And my God,
Yeah.
tell us about that.
Yeah, so I worked at Dare Island. I was one of the few women that worked there, and really no training in the beginning, And I'll never forget. I think it was the West or the East Wing. I went to go relieve a guy for lunch, an old timer, and he goes, "Yeah, I'll be back." Well, he didn't come back for 4 hours, and I was the only one in that wing with like 200 and something guys, and this looked like Shawshank Redemption. The prisons were on top of each other, and they could just open the cells themselves, And that was the one time in my life where I'm like, I don't think I can do this job, because they were swarming me, trying to talk to me, and I started to get nervous. And I had a radio; I wasn't even trained in the radio, and I think I mentioned this to you guys, but there was a point I was in there for about an hour, and I was getting surrounded, and they're trying to talk to me, because they have like times they can get out of their cells, but I was the only one there. There was a guy that walked up to the area that I was at, and I saw all the inmates sort of separate, and it was this guy, I guess he was a REVERE guy, and he asked me if Eddie Ohara was my father, and I said yes, and he said, "I knew your father, he helped me out back in the day." And that was helpful to me, because in prison there's like a hierarchy, and this guy must have been up there, inside the prison, because everybody sort of just left me alone.
That was like considered almost like an Alcatraz
Yeah.
for the area. I've
my
never been
God.
there. Did you ever visit there?
No.
No, not.
Oh my God! It
I've
looked
never-
like the shot. The shot.
Oh,
it
yeah.
looked just like that. I mean, you had to go up, do your count, go up 4 flights of stairs. It was unbelievable. And I worked with some of the best people, and it's dangerous too.
Oh my God, that a prison guard. My grandfather was a prison guard at the
Yeah.
old Charlestown prison.
Yeah, it's and it's there's some guys that I started with that are still there, and a lot of times you're in there locked down with them. It's I'm glad I finally got out to be a police officer, but it's not an easy job.
You mean there's guys that you worked with as guards that
They're still there.
Where are they now? Were they South Bay or?
Well, I was at Dare Island for a year until they built a new prison at South Bay, and so I have guys that are still working there that I started
That's
with.
amazing. You were in Deer. That's a legendary place.
Oh my God!
I mean, you've looked at Google that
Mark
up.
Wahlberg was there.
Was he?
Very famous inmate.
Was he
You
there?
didn't know that? Yeah.
I thought he would be too
He
young.
bit off a guy, an Asian man's ear.
No, I know he was a fresh kid, but I didn't think he was old enough to. Dare Island
he
goes.
went
How
there-
long has it been closed now, Amy? Got to be 40 years.
Well, let's see.
no,
30?
The prison.
25,
If I
30
started in 91, like 92, like around 92, 93, something like
they
that.
closed.
Well, yeah, because they built a new place in Boston.
Yeah.
What a historical place, though. I mean, was there some famous people that were there?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And the place stunk. It was like a sewage place too.
Yeah.
It was nasty.
Know what it is? That's
it was
what it is
filthy,
now.
rotten, dirty
Yeah.
in there.
Wow.
Filthy, rotten, dirty. It was disgusting.
Rats running around.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, it was.
And it was all
pretty bad.
men, right? It was
All men, all men.
So I
And then they would have, and so they'd have the main prison, but then they would have like there was a levels unit, the spectacle unit. There was these, you would go down into like this trailer type of unit, and so that particular unit would be like I'd be sitting in like a trailer, and they'd have like 50 bunk beds. And the guys would just sleep right there, and the showers would be right there. So I'd be sitting at the desk, and the guy would be showering right there, looking at me while he's in the shower, like freaks.
I find that hard to believe that they would put a young woman,
I know.
in a facility like that.
Yeah.
Was there any other female guards there?
Yeah, there was a few other female guards.
I'm surprised. You have a lot of guts. That's serious. To be a cop in general, you have to have
Yeah.
guts. That's serious. That's a serious place. Yeah, right. I heard a lot of
So-
stories about it.
So Amy, so you took the test to
Yep.
become a Now tell me, how proud was your dad when you became a police officer?
Oh my God, extremely proud.
Extremely. I could just
Extremely
imagine
proud.
that. Yeah.
Did you know her dad, Johnny?
I did not. No.
Yeah, extremely proud.
Wow.
Yeah. it
So
was
Now,
wait-
so what did you do right at the very beginning? Okay, so now your career starts as a Revere police officer.
Okay.
So what was like in the very beginning? Because you know something, sometimes, and I know people probably get mad at me, but it's like a man's world, police
Yep, yep.
and all this. And here you are now. You're did
I
you
was the
ever-
only woman out in the street.
All right. So did you ever find any resentment? Now we're not talking about anybody in general, but
Yeah.
did you ever find that maybe you were resented a little bit, or
No,
did everybody carry you along and say, "We're going to take care of you, Amy"?
No, I had a lot of great guys there that worked there. I had an issue with an older guy at one point, but I just, told him what's up,
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys, they treated me just like all the other new officers there.
Right.
And you had to earn your way. Like,
Right.
I wanted to be treated like all the new officers
Right,
as well.
right, right.
How many girls were on the force when you started? 94, right?
Well, I was the only one out in the street.
The only one?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then another female came on after, and then a large group came on after.
So do you think you were the first female on the Revere in the history of the Revere?
No, there was another woman in the 70s, but she was only on for a year or so.
So you were definitely a pioneer,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Imagine that. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And did you, like Johnny said, you had no problems with the other men, the peers?
No.
They were scared of you.
I'm not excuse me, I'm not somebody that's easily offended.
Right.
Like I talk like my.
You're one of the
I
guys.
drop the F-bombs.
Yeah.
I'm just more into making sure that people are treated fairly and equally. That's
Right.
all I care about.
And
That's-
that's good.
No, what I was going to say is, so now being out in the street, now how is it with people dealing with you? Because again, there's always that it's a woman cop. So what can she do?
Well, I definitely turned heads when I finally got out in the street because I
And
had
you still turn heads right now.
Oh yeah, turn head. Thanks, Johnny. I was the only woman out in the street, but a lot of people would stop and do a double take when I was out by myself, because
Right.
I was the only one out in the street. But what's funny is, back then they would swear you in before you went in the academy, and I'll never forget I got sworn in, and before I went to the academy, they had me go undercover immediately. You know what I
Really?
did? Prostitution.
Get
You're
out.
kidding.
No.
That takes balls.
Let me
That's
tell you what I did.
That's no joke.
Back in the day, down near Shirley Ave and like the dog track, like at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's like 100 people out in the street selling drugs. There was common streetwalkers out there. So they had me go undercover as a prostitute. I have no training. I'm not wearing a weapon. I have a Kevlar, I have a recording vest on. And as soon as I got out there, first car stopped immediately. We made like 15 arrests that night. And,
Did you make any money?
Yeah, I wish. I probably could have made some money.
Now that's fascinating. Now, did you have
That is
protection around the
amazing.
corner from you?
Oh yeah. So people like in the bushes, acting like they live out in the bushes. They as soon as you don't want to entrap somebody like that. The person that comes up to you is the one that really has to do a lot of the talking. I can't. I can't entrap
You
them.
can't entrap
and so
them,
the
right.
sign was I had a pocketbook with me. When I went like this, that means everything was the guy said everything he had to say. And
But isn't it a form of entrapment, even though you're letting them make the first initiating everything? It's still a form of entrapment, just you being out there.
No, I mean, I'm walking the street. They're pulling up to me and saying something immediately. Right. And like I said, it was people were coming out of the dog track. So it was like constant every single day. And basically, it's a city ordinance they went by. It was like a $500 fine. The worst part about it was that,
Your name was
the
on
name
the
on the
paper.
paper.
Yeah.
There was a kid that I went to high school with.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is the next day, Like, nobody knows I was a cop because I wasn't in the academy yet in the street, but I was sworn in. What happened is the next day I was at Dunkin' Donuts and I heard a couple of guys going, "Yeah, can you believe that? Oh, I saw O'Hara. She's a prostitute now. She was working on Shirley Ave." And I was like, "Hey, guys, no, I'm a police officer." They're like, I go, "No, I'm a police officer." Like, yeah, right. They really thought I was prostituting. I was so embarrassed.
You know, I used to do a joke. When you got arrested for being a John, they put your name and address and the prostitute's name and address
How
in
do
the
you know?
newspaper. But no, I'm just saying.
How do you know?
So listen.
All right.
Listen to my joke.
All right. Oh, it's a joke. all right.
So anyways, now for the guy, it's an embarrassment, but for the prostitute, it's advertisement. Because the next day in front of her house, it's gonna be 20 guys outside. I'm next.
I know.
Now,
When somebody drove by you in a car and just said, "How much?" Now would you? Because if you say $100, is that entrapment?
Well, yeah, I can't remember exactly, but I remember like they specifically went over the details, and I know the district attorney did. But it was mostly them saying what they wanted, and so I think I might have said like $50 or whatever, and I started getting into it. Like after I could have waved my pocketbook, but I was getting into it. I'm like, the both of you is for 100, and they're like, "Amy, you already had them. Why do you keep talking?"
Oh
Because
my
I had a blast.
God.
That's funny.
I had a
That
blast.
That's a female Serpico.
Isn't
Yeah.
that funny?
I had a blast.
That's hysterical.
I could do the both of you for 50.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that is
had fun. I had
That's
fun.
hysterical.
Fun, but that's still dangerous shit.
It
All
is.
right, so now, so you did your little time there.
Yep.
I mean, you really had to work hard and work your way up. There were no easy paths for you, right?
No. I mean, I attained the rank. I was the first woman to hold of rank. I was a sergeant, and I was the first. I did a lot of firsts there, but to hold rank is you have to take an exam, and it's really a grueling exam. You have to study at least a year out. I do anyway.
Wow.
So what I got on that job is what I earned. I never wanted special treatment,
Right.
And I think that's important. You don't want to be given stuff just because
Exactly, and not only that, it always comes back to you at some point. You worked really, really hard for
I
what
did.
you got, and what inspired you to be a detective?
I went to a couple of serious calls, and my supervisor was like, "You did a good job. I wrote a good report." And when an opening came up, I put in for it, and those supervisors recommended I get the job. And so I was a detective as a patrol officer and then as a supervisor, and I think in total I did 10 years in there.
10 years
As a detective.
Yeah.
Imagine that. And how many years as a patrol?
Well, the rest was in patrol, except my last 5 years I was in community service as a captain. But I was a lieutenant that ran a shift.
So you're the first captain in the history of Revere Police?
No, I'm actually
Female, I meant.
No, second.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was the first?
Captain Mangino.
I don't remember. Is she still on?
No, she's retired as well.
Okay. Was she in charge of the guns?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, at one point.
Yep.
Yep.
She was a nice girl.
Yeah.
It's amazing, fascinating stuff. So you did 35 years?
34.
34
32
years,
in
and
Revere.
then you transitioned to something that Johnny
Yeah.
it does for a living.
That's right.
Well, we'll definitely get into that, but there's still a lot more we could touch upon in your
Absolutely.
career as a police officer. Now, tell us, are there any stories that you could tell us about, maybe a funny story or something really crazy that happened to you
Oh,
while
my
you're on the
God.
job? I mean, you probably have millions, but what comes to your mind?
I mean, every cop has some good stories, but I can think of a time, I'm a supervisor with a lot of new people on the shift, and a guy comes in, and I'm just trying to be professional and trying to set the tone in the shift. And the guy comes in the booking area, and all these new guys are looking at me. I'm a lieutenant, and he's like, "Amy," and it goes silent, and I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, it's Joe. We went to prom together," and I was like, so embarrassed. But that's what it is when you work in a city like that.
Right.
You know,
Especially your city, right?
Yeah,
Revere,
I
yeah.
knew a lot of people that were under arrest, I mean,
Yeah.
that was just fine with my shift, but I've been to some serious calls, like car chases, fights. I can think of one of my worst fights was actually with a woman. She was about 6'2".
Really?
And let me tell you, it was a car. She was in a stolen car, and she ended up going where the trailer park was in Revere. And in the trailer park, it's a dead radio zone. So if you call for help, they couldn't hear it, but like it was one of those dead zones. And I remember I was in an all-in-out fist fight with her, and everybody in the trailer parks just looked out their window and didn't do anything. And I don't know if you guys if you've been in a fight, but when you're fighting for like 2-3 minutes, you're out
Can't
of breath.
breathe.
And so you know
2
what
3 minutes.
No,
30 seconds.
No, and
It's
she
like-
was humongous, right? And so you know what I forgot about? I had pepper spray. So I finally said, "Shit, I have pepper spray." So I remember I took it out and I was like, "Shh," and finally she went down. But eventually the guys found me. But
She was a formidable
oh my God, she was
opponent.
humongous. Yeah, I mean that's how it was.
Did you ever have to arrest anybody you knew in the 34 years?
All the
Are
time.
you kidding me?
All the time.
That's got to be tough.
I've had family that have been the Revere police cells.
But you didn't arrest them.
I probably knew about the arrest.
Right.
I didn't call and tell them. You can't.
No.
You know?
But I mean, even having to arrest someone you know or you might have grew up with, that's got to be can't be easy.
Yeah. Well, it's not, but that's part of the job.
I understand absolutely.
While you were an officer, did you ever mentor anybody like, maybe some young kids that might want to maybe someday have a career in law enforcement? I mean, there's a lecture circuit that you could probably have done as well, and go into the schools and do some stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I was always looking to help others get into the field and mentor people, and obviously recruitment and retention is one of the issues that law enforcement deal with. So, anybody that was interested, especially young women, would call. I would definitely meet with them and talk to them about this career. It is a great career, but it does take a toll on you. You work crazy hours. You see things that human beings aren't meant to see.
Right.
I've seen a lot of crazy, sudden deaths that people are not meant to see.
Yeah.
Very, very, like, as a matter of fact, I went to an event a couple of months ago, and there was a firefighter in there that was retired. And the first thing he said to me, he says, "Amy, remember that call?" And it was about 30 years ago. And I said, "I do remember, because it's embedded in your brain."
Right.
It was a pedestrian accident. And when I got there, the guy's head was completely split in the middle. It was almost like the movie Terminator when they get shot in the head?
Yeah.
That's what his head was, like
Really?
that. And I remember I went over to the car where that struck him, and I remember putting my flashlight in the car, and the window was open, and the guy's eyeball completely went out of his head, and an eyeball is huge, by the way. Lights out of the head, and I put my flashlight on it, and the pupil dilated. And so the firefighter was like, that's the type of calls that I went to.
That was a car accident?
Oh, it was horrific. Horrific.
Now, a good friend of mine, was a Boston cop, and he's retired now, but he was on the child abuse unit. Now, that's something I don't think I could deal with that. I'd have to retire. I couldn't. You must have seen your share of
Oh my God, especially
children.
especially as a detective. And there's such difficult cases to prosecute because usually a victim will come forth after it, so there's no physical evidence. And then
But what about coming to the scene, getting a call at the scene on the spot? That's got to be horrific.
Right, because and you do a little bit of an interview, but then usually we would take a child into Boston. We'd be part of a forensic psychologist would do an interview that we would be present there. And then the main thing in a case like that is the only thing you have is that you have to bring a guy in for questioning. So you have to be a good interrogator. And I learned from some of the best. Like Stephen Pisano was a detective that I learned from. Yeah. And you really have to. There's a method and there's a way to approach certain interviews, and especially with somebody that's a child molester, you have to approach it a certain way.
But the child itself,
devastated. It's trauma for me too. It's extremely difficult. That child's life is affected, forever.
I couldn't even comprehend what you've seen and witnessed, as well as my friend that retired from the Boston. I mean, that's why three of us, we're all pro-cop here.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us could have been a cop because we were too stupid.
Right.
But
Speak for yourself.
Billy's
God.
too quiet. I was going to say, I haven't heard from
Billy,
him.
I know what's going on. Are you sleeping over there?
I know. I was like, Bill, is this
I'm doing my thing
over here and over here talking?
You must have a couple of things to ask Amy.
I do.
Well, come on.
I thought I was going to get him up with the stupid comment.
I want to tell you one thing about one guy. It was a child sexual assault case, right? He got convicted, and so he goes in to get sentencing, and the judge allowed him to get his personal things in order before being sentenced, right? Well, he never showed up. So now I'm like, this where is this
You
piece
can
of
curse.
shit, right? So now I remember, I looked in his file. I remember he had family in Canada on an Indian reservation. So now I'm like, this son of a bitch, where is he, right? So now, because of my connections, I call up to the border and I'm like, here's the guy's name. If he comes across that border, I want to know, right? Well, lo and behold, guy calls me back 2 days later. He's there. So now I'm like, frig, we got to go get him. And so, district attorney's office, they're worried about, this financial constrictions. I'm like, I'll drive up there. I don't give a shit. So I ended up asking the chief, I'll drive up there. And I took my friend Cupcake. That's his nickname. It's Greg Tomorrow. Great officer. He's now a sergeant. We drove up to Canada 9 hours.
Wow.
I'll never forget. I walk in. I'm like in the friggin' border, like the Canadian border. The guy's sitting there, and I'm like, I'll never forget. I walk in. I go, Johnny, what's going on, buddy? You're coming home with me, babes, right? Like I fucking, you ain't getting
Was
away,
he a child
buddy.
molester?
Oh yeah, he was convicted. He was convicted. He was supposed to go for sentencing, but he fled. So I took my friend. We drove 9 hours up there. The look on his face was like,
Now, if
you're
he
not
made it-
getting away.
If he made it to Canada over the border without being grabbed, would he have been free? Would he have been free in another country?
Well, I don't. If we had known he was there, we probably still would
What
have
do they
tried
call
to
it?
get him.
Extradition? They have
Yeah,
extradition.
there's rendition and extradition. But the thing is, those are the things as a cop you have to think about. All right,
Rendition.
where's he's going? Let's put, even like you work with other agencies, you'll work with Logan Airport. You want to get the person's name out there. You'll put it in the NCIs.
So you work a lot with the state too.
I work with a lot of agencies.
Now, I don't know if you can answer this question, but and I don't want to get political, but as far as a governor of the state, could you tell me who was more proactive with the police as far as a governor? I don't want to say a city because we're all friends with the mayors, the previous
right.
mayors. But the governor, was there any specific governor you think was more proactive towards police? Or
I don't know.
supportive, I guess the word
I
is.
don't know. Everybody brings something good to the table, but for me, I just focused on, I go by the rules of the Commonwealth and the policies of Revere PD. I
Gotcha.
play by the rules,
Got it.
Now,
Got
here's
it.
a question. Let's just say, this is a hypothetical. You're on the force, and you saw a fellow officer breaking the law on the
Good
job.
question.
Okay. Would you turn your back to it?
No, I wouldn't turn my back to it.
Okay.
Simple as that. It just
That was a
wouldn't
good
happen.
question, Johnny.
I would never turn my back on that. One of the most important qualities a cop has to have is integrity.
That's
And-
number
and-
exactly.
Yeah, and everything, the foundation, everything else falls underneath
That's
that.
a good question because it's an important question because some people couldn't answer it the right
Right,
way,
right.
and she did.
I think
If
I
you
think
didn't answer it, I would have totally understood.
First of all, there's a misconception. When you have there's almost 1 million cops in this country. When you have this rogue cop or a bat, that's not all of us, right? And so I have never seen anything shady in my entire career, and I wouldn't stand for it. Okay, so I mean, I'm being completely.
You're a
honest.
cop's cop.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't stand for any bullshit. And I've been in executing search warrants where I find 100,000. Me and my buddy found 100,000 in an air conditioner. Like I don't care if there's $1 billion there. I wouldn't touch anything.
Right.
And if anybody even thinks about that, you shouldn't be a cop.
Well, that's admirable, and believe me,
That
they-
was me. I would have been like, yeah, I found
Yeah, all right.
$6.23.
we'd have Johnny on.
I'll be putting the leg irons on you, John.
We'd have Johnny and remote from the Bahamas tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
The Bahamas. Well, we've been. This has been great. We've been almost 55 minutes here, and it seems like we just started. So I think we should talk about your new career,
Yeah.
Johnny.
Okay. Well, okay. So I met Amy. She was doing a guest spot at Giggles, and she went up there. And as a comedian for nearly 40 years, there's certain things I look for. In the beginning, you don't look at material. You look at their stage presence, how they deliver, what they're like up there, and so forth. She had it all. This girl had it all. But she does have those little bit of fears about
I
sometimes.
do.
Well, how long did she start? When did you start?
Let me tell you something. I've only been doing it a couple of years,
Right.
and I got into it. You have to have a sense of humor as a cop. The
Right.
things you see, But the reason why I got into comedy is one night I was at the Kowloon. I had 3 white Mai Tais, and I was with a group of people and a kid named Billy Ahern. He's from East Boston. He worked at the House of Correction. He goes, you're funny. You should get into comedy. And that night, I forgot about it. I signed up for class at Boston Casting with Mike Katrobis, who's also been very helpful to me. And when my alarm went off saying class was coming up, I'm like, what? I forgot I actually signed up for it. And so I did like a 6-week class and did my first show. And what I realized was, getting up in front of a group of people, it is scary.
Scary.
And, it's almost the same feeling as a cop, only a cop. I rely on my training experience, and I go right into mode. I have no training experience yet.
It's funny.
It's hard.
It's funny you said that because I've been doing this 32 years. Billy's been doing it 55 years, Billy? Johnny's been doing it 45, whatever, 40
years.
So combined, we got over 100 years on shame. But when I try to speak at the city council, and every one of the council was all friends of mine.
Yeah.
I was.
I know.
I can't. Now, but yet I'm in front of people dancing, shaking it up.
Joey, the number one fear for a person is going up in front and talking in front of an audience. Now, let me tell you a great story. Do you remember Three's Company?
Yep.
Okay. What was the actor on that?
John Ritter.
Ritter.
Yep.
John Ritter had to do a movie. It was called The Comic, right? So he had to go out into the comedy clubs and do stand up to get used to the part. And he said, now here's the guy that was on Three's Company. It was one of the number one hits on TV. He said the hardest thing he ever had to do was go in front of an audience and be funny. Because, see, the one thing about a stand-up, if you're a musician, if you're Joey or you're Billy, you could say, oh, it was the music, oh, there was a technical difficulty. A comic has nobody to blame but himself. That's the only thing you could blame. Now, there are comedians, oh, this audience sucked. I never go that route. Even if the audience sucked, I would still go on my ride home. Because remember, Amy, you never remember your good shows, right?
Yeah.
You always remember your bad shows.
Right.
But
And
why
that's
is
good.
it that I've been singing in front of an audience for 32 years. You could give me 10,000 people and I'll be doing Tom Jones.
Yeah.
But I go in front of a council
Yeah.
with all friends of mine and I'm a stuttering.
You gotta get over that.
Well,
Why?
That's a mental thing,
Yeah.
Joey.
But why wouldn't I'm in
Beca-
front of
well,
audiences all the
because-
time?
Because your comfort zone is singing.
Singing, okay.
Okay.
And speaking,
in
different
just like when sometimes you go up, you tell a joke and it goes flat.
Oh.
And you go,
Oh
and
my
you're right.
God.
And
Oh, you want to hear a funny story?
I
Go
know
ahead.
that's bad.
Johnny has the Viagra joke, and he never tells the fucking thing. One night he decides to tell it. I'm backstage changing to go put my tuxedo on down John Carver Hotel in
Yeah,
Plymouth. I remember
know.
exactly what it was.
I remember the
And I
time.
ended up telling the same joke he told, and my ex-wife was running the sound to the side. She goes, "He already said it." I told the same joke. Nobody laughed. It always crushed.
It always, but my point is with you, Joey.
Yeah.
See, your reaction as a singer is, wow.
Yeah.
And of course, the reaction as a comedian is ha ha ha.
Yeah.
It's like when I do magic, there are two different reactions that I had to get used to.
Yeah, that's true.
Because when I'm up there as a magician, and if nobody laughs, but then I go, wait a minute, they had not to laugh. They had to watch me do something amazing, and it's with the comedian. It's that first laugh, as you know, being up there. It's the most. That's the most.
Yeah.
That relaxes you. That first laugh.
Well, the funny thing is, and you come to Tuesday night when I tell
Thursday
Tuesday night, Tuesday, when I tell a couple of jokes while I'm singing in between songs, and I get a laugh, it is exciting.
Yeah.
And then I had the third or fourth joke right down the toilet. Well, for my next song,
Yeah, I know.
I can go. At least I can go into a song. You can't.
No, it's,
Oh, you can't.
I mean, Johnny's just a professional. He gets
He's
up there
awesome.
and it just flows. But I'm telling you right now, it's frightening.
Frightening, no question.
But I find it challenging, and I like to challenge myself.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
it-
in
You
the
know
middle
the
of this.
toughest audiences are police.
Oh well,
I have done so many things with I had to drive one time 5 hours to a place called the Balsams, up in
New Hampshire.
no, it's
Way up in New
Way
Hampshire.
up. It's on the border. It's actually on the Canadian border.
Yep.
And it's this
yeah.
beautiful hotel. And when I get there, they didn't tell me it was all the police chiefs
Oh
of
my
New
God.
Hampshire. And they just sat there like this.
Oh my God, you poor thing.
I'd only been doing it like 2 or 3 years, so I wasn't really ready. But I was trying to prove something to
Yeah.
this booking agent. He was 91 years old. He drove up there, the booking agent, to see me fail.
Who
And
was
I
that
go
guy?
on, Lordly and Dame.
Lord Leah, that's
And
right.
Yeah,
I remember
and so
them.
now I'm up there, and I didn't even know he was there. He's standing in the back, and I'm up there, and for 20 minutes, Amy, nothing,
Sweating.
Oh my God.
nothing. And I'm like, and my mind's going, oh my God, you are.
Did you ever
fucked,
tell her the
baby.
story about?
Wait a minute, let me
Oh, go
finish
ahead.
this. Let me just finish this.
I thought you were done.
ADD, man.
Off
Let me
my ass,
finish.
you two today.
And anyways,
I thought he was done.
and then finally, I started doing a joke about women being tougher than men, and then the women started laughing. So my last 10 minutes was okay, but that 20 minutes before was horrible.
Oh, my
So you know what
God.
I did? I went back to, it's 11:30 at night now. I go back to my room and I packed all my stuff, and I'm walking out the door, and the person at the reception says, "Where you going?" It's 11:30 at night. There's beers out there, and there's deers, and you got to be careful driving. I go, I'd rather face them than get up in the morning
day.
and face those
Oh, my
police
God.
that are going to be in the breakfast room. You know what I
Yep,
mean?
I hear ya.
But sometimes the police could be very.
See, I don't have a problem because I could probably wing it.
Yeah, you
I could
could.
tell because we understand the same type of
Exactly.
humor. And some of the stuff I have, true stories, will resonate with police, but not
Absolutely.
resonate with everybody else.
And that's what see the thing about you now with your comedy, this is where you have to find
The nice little fit.
the common denominator for both.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You're right,
Cause,
Johnny.
'cause in every, when I was first starting out, you have to find out who you are on stage.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you know why? When you're with your friends, Joey sometimes makes me laugh so hard when we're out, the three of us at
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts, right?
Yeah.
But it's a whole different ballgame. But now
It
when
is.
you're on
Totally.
stage and people have paid to see
Yeah.
you,
Oh my God.
it's
yeah.
a totally different animal.
Oh, no, don't.
And
It's
you
not
horrible.
easy. It's not easy.
And when you're with your friends, you could be funny, and then you could just coast. Then you could be funny.
And people, but don't you find like it's almost like people think I got a joke for you, I got this, and no,
Yeah.
no,
You
stop.
know
Why
what
don't you go do it? All right?
People come up.
They don't realize you write. You have to write.
Exactly. People come up to me just before I'm going on stage. Johnny, I got something. I go, please, don't tell me a joke right now. I beg you, don't tell me a joke
No, I
right
know.
now.
So you
I got this in
understand
the
it.
head. But that was nice. You took a comedy course.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will tell you about comedy courses, there are a lot of them out there. I'm not a big proponent of comedy courses
Right.
because this is the way I look at it. Comedy, you got to go up and do it, and you have to fail.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because that's how you become better.
Right.
That's the one thing about this here thing of comedy. Got to go up there and fail, and you got to deal with it. Because a lot of times you fail. I'm not going back up there and doing that
it's
again.
so hard.
You got to get right back up on the horse.
Right,
You know what I
right. It
mean?
really is.
And that's it. I used to do this thing at the Prince. I called it the Comedy Round Table.
Yep.
And I invited anybody that wanted to come, especially newbies. Everybody sit around, didn't cost you a dime. And I said, let's talk comedy. That's how you learn. Johnny, can I ask a question?
Like improv stuff, or
Huh?
like questions with other
It's question,
comedy.
yeah. Questions like, "Hey, how would you deal with this? And what happened with this?"
Yeah.
And then
Sure.
all right, tell us. And that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And anytime I'm with a new comic, I always say to them, "Ask me questions," because I was very lucky. I was very good, very close friends with Lenny Clark when I first started
Yeah.
out, and he used to say to me all the time, "Johnny, ask me questions. Ask me questions."
Yeah.
And if I had a question, I would ask. But something, you got to go up there and do it. You got to.
I know,
You
you're
got to
right.
experience the pain. That's what makes you strong.
Oh, I've experienced the pain. Trust
Yeah.
me. But you've always been a mentor, and a few others have too. But I'm going to keep doing it because I
Good.
feel that the next chapter of my life is, we can all agree to laugh, and I'm a music enthusiast. I love music, so this is something I'm looking forward to really
Awesome.
explore in the
That's
future.
great. I'm glad to hear that because you come up, you did some shows, and I thought, and I told you, I thought you were terrific.
Yeah.
And again, and I look at you as your stage presence.
Yeah.
How you are, because once you're a wreck before you go on.
Oh, I'm a total wreck.
Yeah, and Amy, believe me, all of us went through this.
Yeah.
When I first started out, I couldn't hold anything in my stomach all day long. My heart's beating out of my chest. When I was doing open mic, the Ding Ho days years ago, I used to go sign up. When I was next, I'd run out. Okay, I'd run out because I was so
Yeah,
nervous.
it is. People don't understand. It is nerve wracking.
It is. But then there was a time I I said, I got to do this. I'm going to do this. Nothing's going to stop me from doing this.
Right.
I used to drive up Route 1, and this is before they had all the comedy clubs there.
Right.
And I used to go, there was a band playing. I go in, when you take a break, can I tell a couple of jokes? They're like, are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
But
Good.
like even now, Amy, I try to make everything hard for myself. When I host the shows at Giggles, people go, want me to bring you up? I'm going to introduce you. I go, no. I want them cold. I want to take them
yeah.
from start, and I want to get them going because it makes you a better comic.
Yeah.
You know?
The worst crowd you could probably ever have gotten, Johnny. I was with you. 3 days after 9/11, we were up in Johnston, Rhode Island.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
Listen to this
3
song.
days after, well, it's really nothing not to say. He just had to go in front of a crowd. We had about 300 seats sold. It was a place called the 1025 Club in Johnston, Rhode Island.
That's right.
And 3 days after 9/11 was on a Tuesday,
Yeah.
we had a Friday show. Probably got 100 cancellations because the country's a mess, as you know.
Yeah.
And this nut had to come up and make people laugh, and he did. I don't know how he did it, but that
They
was.
probably needed it too.
But they did.
But
But
he sang, and then at the end he sang. What was the Elvis
American
song?
Trail. But forget that. But I'm
No,
talking
no,
about his.
No, I'm not going to forget that.
No,
they were crying.
Yes,
The
we'll talk
people
about that
were
after.
crying.
But when he had to come up, just imagine he had to come up cold in front of a crowd, maybe 150, 200 people were there, 300 were sold. But anyway, you had to have nerves, Johnny. How did you do it? The country was a mess.
Well, you know something. I had to do it. You know, that's just about. I couldn't run out.
He come in with a jacket. You still got that jacket?
Which one?
He's always wearing crazy
No, but he had
clothes.
the American flag jacket.
yeah.
You still got that?
Yeah.
And he walked in, and I go, this is going to be a tough night. But he pulled it off. And what he was telling you before is when I was singing at the end of the night, we had a format. I used to go under the Man of Many Voices. That's why I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
People said, who do you sound like? I don't know. I just act like the person I'm singing the song with. But anyway, after Johnny went on, Shannon went on, and then I finished the night. Because it was my show. I come over with a tuxedo, then slowly take it off and
Right.
go into the Tom Jones shit.
Yeah, I love Tom
And
Jones.
open up the shirt. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's a long time ago. But Johnny is right. When I was singing a song by Elvis, you ever see it, the American Trilogy, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah?
Yes.
And people were standing up, crying, holding each other, literally.
Yeah. It was an amazing. It was an amazing. That was an amazing.
I don't
night.
see anything much more difficult than that, Johnny,
Yeah,
for a
that was
comedian.
good, yeah.
Think about it. Could you think of a more of a complicated?
No, that was I mean, I've done quite a few things in my career that I'm pretty.
But
that's
you're
up
just,
there.
You just you know that you've been doing it for years. It's
Yeah.
just it just flows. You know,
Yeah.
it's you can tell that you're a
But
legend.
3 days after 9/11, Amy, that's serious.
Yeah.
The country was a mess.
Well, and I know Joey's on the same boat. Thursday night, if you're not doing anything, if you want to, no pressure. But if you want to come up, 7-10 minutes. Okay.
We have a formula. What I do is when I do my comedy shows, I open up the show and I do about 15, 20 minutes of just quiet. This nut wants me to do dance. No, you keep it nice and calm.
Yep.
Especially when I'm with certain people. They don't like me to do Sweet Caroline because they don't want to follow the crowd. It's, but no, there's some comedians that don't want to follow a high energy where the crowd is into it because now they got to wind them down.
Right.
So and they're not wrong, right, Johnny? The comedian doesn't want to come on after Delilah.
Well,
Delilah.
when you
No,
have
really.
well, nobody wants to go on after like
A high energy song.
yeah, a high energy song, and people are like, "Yay,
Yes,
Joey,
I get it.
yay."
I no, he's right.
Yeah.
So what I do is I open up for about 15, 20 minutes.
Start and then bring it down. Like you could start big.
No,
and
I
then-
don't. I keep it very mellow. It's not about me. It's not a musical show. It's just an added. I'm a musical host.
Yeah.
It's comedy.
Yeah.
So what I do, I'll open up for 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and I'll bring on the first comedian, which will be Johnny that night.
Well, I told you what I was going to do is I was going to go on. I want to do 10, 12 minutes of magic.
Oh yeah,
a
that's right.
couple of new things. Then we'll bring on the 15-year-old.
Beautiful.
And
Oh,
then
yeah, I wanna see
yeah.
him.
Oh yeah, he's terrific.
See, the more he does, the less I have to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you want to come on,
Yeah.
but again, I always say to you, there is no pressure. But you know something?
There's no pressure, but you're saying here, get out there and do it.
Do it. Yeah. But the bottom, that's how you learn, Amy.
Yeah, you're right.
And you know, you got Mike Clark, and I got to tell you something. Mike Clark is a big fan of yours.
No, I know.
He loves what you know. He loves what you do.
Did I ever tell you when he first called me to go up at Giggles? He called me like 2 or 3 times. And when Mike Clark calls, you want to answer him,
Yeah.
right? But I was working like full time, like I was in the middle of an investigation. I
Yeah.
finally called him. I was like, Mike, oh my God, yes, I appreciate
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you, but I'm so, I was working. Now that I'm retired, I can,
Yeah.
pursue this a little bit
Yeah.
more.
How long have you been
Exactly.
retired now?
Since May of this year.
That's right. You told me that earlier.
Yeah.
Well, I think you got to, judging by your personality and your energy level, I think you're going to have a great time with this comedy stuff. And
Yep.
we've already went over an hour. What do you want to do? Want to wrap it up, Billy? Are you there? You awake?
Are you there? Look at that.
Oh, stop.
Nice
Well,
fresh chick.
Billy's like a little mouse, so he
Listen,
didn't say one thing.
I didn't
I
say
know.
one thing. I'm enjoying listening to you guys talk because you guys are interacting wonderfully. Why do I gotta get in there?
You just
know
know,
what I mean?
you're just being like me
I'm
now. You
doing
want to
my
do less
technical-
work, the better.
I'm doing my technical thing over
I have
here.
gotten lazy though. I have gotten so I sit down on my chair and I just croon all night.
Oh, stop.
I don't want to do. No, really. Billy will tell you. 10 years ago, him and I used to do the Continental. I always said this, and I still maintain it, that Billy and I together, back in, maybe we're a little older now, but the only way you could have beat us two is with a live band. That's it. Other than, am I wrong, Billy?
Yeah, and if we were in the front of the live band,
Well,
Forget
but
that.
you know what I'm talking about. You got a party being like world premiere.
absolutely.
I mean, unless you get something like that, him and I worked so great together because he did all that high energy, the R&B stuff, and it just
Oh, I
worked.
love
It
it.
was a great
I
combo.
love the music.
Luckily,
Luther
I have.
Vandross, yes.
Luckily, he sounds exactly like Luther,
I
but that's
love
his
Luther
wheelhouse.
Vandross.
But him and I together in the
Luther
Continental
Vandross?
days. What's that?
Luther Vandross?
He sounds just like
I
him.
love Luther
Yeah.
Vandross.
But I hate him.
I love Luther Vandross.
I love that. I love
Oh,
music.
you'd love him then.
You know what song
That's
I
his
used to
stuff.
always ask
love
when
you.
they used to say, "What song you want to come on to?" And you know, song, and you fly away almost every day to reach the top. You never
Stop to love.
stop.
Now listen.
Wow.
Now you guys, that song, I never knew this. I watched it. If you get a chance to watch the Luther documentary,
Where is it?
the new one, I think it's on Netflix.
Oh, I
think it's
love
on
Luther
Netflix.
Vandross.
It is the most amazing thing. It lets you in. Luther lets you into his personal life. Where
Really?
Stop to Love. It was all about him working too hard,
Right.
and he never
Lived in the moment.
found anybody to call his own. And everybody's talking, well, he could have come out. Yeah, he could have come out, but he didn't, because that would have alienated
Yeah.
probably 80%
Nah,
of
that's
his
too bad.
80% of
that's too
his
bad.
audience. But when he did finally come out, it was kind of too late, because then he ended up having a stroke, and that just ruined everything.
Does he talk
for him.
about his feud with Anita Baker?
No, that was great. That happened at the Boston
Yeah,
Garden.
Boston Garden. You
That
you've
happened
heard
at the
about that, right?
Boston Garden, yeah, because she was. What do you mean? I'm opening for Luther. I'm Anita Baker.
Right.
Yeah, but he's Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luther
There's
is,
no-
Luther is
there is
smooth,
no-
smooth.
There was nobody. I remember that Whitney Houston tried to shame him on live TV on an award show, and he came and it came to she did her part and she did his, like, thinking that she was all that, and he came back and just annihilated her with this.
He's amazing.
He was just the stuff he had, and he had range from bass all the way to tenor.
Really?
And oh my
He
goodness.
was
See, I don't
he was
think
a marvelous vocalist.
I don't
I
think
didn't
anybody
like him. I
replaced
wasn't a fan because that's not not kind of music.
Right.
I'm a rock and roller.
Yeah,
I'm more. of a-
I like all
Luther
music.
Vandross. I do
Yeah,
too.
I do too.
No one's
I
ever
like all.
replaced
Say, I like.
Luther.
Except
I-
the Beatles. I hate the
What about
Beatles.
Barry
And-
White?
Oh,
I love
brother.
Barry
Barry
White.
White.
That's
Oh,
one of
he's-
my
Barry
favorites.
White is
Easy go.
I love Barry
That's
White.
one
Oh
of
my
my
God, give me
favorites
some
to do,
Barry
too.
Yeah,
White.
just don't
I love
sing
it.
Neil Diamond Thursday
I like
night.
Neil Diamond too.
You think I listen to this? Nuts?
Reverend Blue Jeans.
I love Neil. I wish I had an opportunity to still Neil Diamond. He's not my favorite.
You think anything he says, I do the opposite.
Joey and I are going to be at the Wharf.
Oh, yeah,
together
that's right.
On December 5th. Now I'm going to be the 21st. I'm there with Carissa, which is this coming Friday. Okay. But then December 5th, Joey and I are going to be at the Wharf.
Oh,
and
I'll
then,
have to check
The
it
right,
out.
6th.
and then the 6th we're going to be
At
at
Bianchi's.
At Bianchi's.
This is rare because Billy and I haven't worked together in a long time. But luckily, we have a lot of videos of the Continental.
I know.
We have a lot of videos. People always. We were. I gotta admit it. I mean, there's
What
a lot
time
of.
you gonna
don't-
sing till?
10 o'clock at the Wharf.
Now, do people dance?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I take that back. It's gonna. They changed the time. The start time is 6 o'clock. So
really?
we're going from 6 to 9 because they want to get the
Oh,
dinner
the-
crowd is
I
much
may- I
earlier.
may co- I
It's
may come
in the
down at
winter.
6.
It's funny because
I
when
gotta
Billy
work
and I
then.
worked together, we fed off each other. And again, like I said, I don't have the legs I once had. I was drinking Red Bull back then. Billy used to think you're
I
going to
thought,
take a
I
heart
thought I was
attack.
going to send them. I was send them home and paint my house.
Oh, there was many a nights that he was looking at me. You okay? I
Are
was
we
like,
still on?
Yeah.
But
Oh
yeah,
my
I think
God.
it's
I
let's
haven't
wrap
shut
it up.
off. I'll in a minute.
All right. Well, I know you're the one that never likes to go more than an hour.
It just cut us off.
Who did?
The live.
Why?
Because I guess it gave us an hour.